Welcome, fellow lovers of ancient drama, to another episode of Classic Lit with a Twist. Today we're diving into not one, not two, but three of the most epic tragedies ever written. Yep, you guessed it. We're tackling the Oedipus Trilogy by Sophocles, Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone, all packed into one video, with just the right amount of drama to make the heartbreak a little more bearable. Ready? Let's unravel this tangled web of fate, prophecy, and a whole lot of family drama. Our story kicks off with Oedipus Rex, where we meet Oedipus, the king of Thebes, and a guy who just can't catch a break. Picture this: Thebes, a city in crisis, struck by a terrible plague. People are desperate, so they turn to their king, Oedipus. What does our hero do? He sends his brother-in-law Creon to the Oracle of Delphi to find out what's going on. Because when in doubt, ask the oracle, right? Nervously holding a scroll.
The plague will end only when the murderer of the former king Laius is found and banished from Thebes. And, oh, by the way, the killer is apparently still in the city.
Great, so now Thebes is not only diseased, but also harboring a killer.
Standing tall, I will find the culprit and save the city. Because who better to solve a murder mystery than the guy who outsmarted the Sphinx?
So Oedipus calls in the blind prophet Tiresias for a little divine insight. But Tiresias isn't exactly in a sharing mood.
You sure you want to know the truth? Because it's going to ruin your day or life.
Tiresias hesitates, then finally drops the bomb.
You're the killer, Oedipus.
Oedipus's reaction, total disbelief.
Whoa, me? The guy who's trying to help? You've got to be kidding me, old man.
Naturally, he accuses Tiresias of being in cahoots with Creon to overthrow him. Classic paranoid king move. While Oedipus is busy accusing everyone under the sun, his wife Jocasta steps in.
Relax, honey. These prophecies are just ancient mumbo-jumbo. Look, the oracle said my first husband, Laius, would be killed by our son, but we sent that kid packing ages ago. Laius was killed by a bunch of thieves instead.
Jocasta brushes off the prophecy, waving it away as nonsense. But wait, Jocasta's description of Laius's murder rings a bell for Oedipus. Something about a three-way crossroads?
Oh, snap! That's where I had my own little road rage incident years ago, where I killed some pesky travelers. And, what if one of them was Laius?
A dramatic realization dawns on Oedipus, connecting the dots in a chilling moment of clarity. Things are starting to get uncomfortable for our hero. So what does he do? He doubles down and calls in the only surviving witness of Laius's murder, a shepherd who just so happens to be connected to Oedipus's mysterious past.
I don't know if I should say.
But before the shepherd spills the beans, Jocasta figures out the awful truth and runs off, because this situation isn't awkward enough already.
Oh no, no.
The shepherd finally comes clean. Oedipus is indeed the son of Laius and Jocasta. That prophecy? Dead on accurate. Oedipus killed his dad and married his mom. Talk about family drama.
No, it can't be true.
Oedipus does what any rational king would do upon discovering he's been the star of his own twisted soap opera. He blinds himself with the pins from Jocasta's robe, because apparently that's the logical next step.
I can't bear to see the truth anymore.
With Oedipus now a blind, broken man, his brother-in-law Creon steps in. Because if there's one thing Creon loves, it's seizing power when the opportunity strikes.
Smugly. Don't worry, Oedipus. I'll take care of your daughters, Antigone and Ismene, while you figure things out.
Please, just exile me. I can't stay here.
Creon smugly leads Oedipus away as Antigone and Ismene watch sadly. Moral of the story, maybe don't mess with prophecies. Fast forward a few years and we find Oedipus in. Oedipus at Colonus. Spoiler alert. Things don't get any easier for our guy Oedipus, but hey, at least he gets some quality father-daughter time, right? So, after years of wandering the Greek countryside, Oedipus finally stumbles upon a quiet grove outside Athens. And who's by his side, you ask? His ever-loyal daughter, Antigone, because every epic tragedy needs a supportive daughter. They find out from a passing local that they've wandered onto some pretty sacred ground, reserved for the Eumenides, the goddesses of fate. You know, the ones who decide how everyone's life is going to turn out. No pressure. Naturally, Oedipus is like, perfect! This is exactly where I was meant to end up. because apparently Apollo had hinted at this little vacation spot ages ago. But before they can get too comfortable, in comes Oedipus's other daughter, Ismene, with the latest gossip from Thebes. And boy, is it a doozy. Apparently, Oedipus's sons, Eteocles and Polynices, are at each other's throats, literally. And they're both racing to see who can snatch up dad first to score a little divine favor for their kingdom. Oedipus, however, is not having it. He's like, those ungrateful brats, they let me get exiled, so there's no way I'm helping them now. Tough love, Oedipus style. Enter Theseus, the king of Athens, an all-around good guy. Unlike Oedipus's sons, Theseus is actually compassionate. He promises to protect Oedipus, even though doing so will pretty much make him public enemy #1 in Thebes. But hey, who needs peace when you can be morally right? Just when you think things might be looking up for Oedipus, here comes Creon, the ever-scheming ruler of Thebes, trying to kidnap the poor guy. When that fails, he grabs Antigone and Ismene instead. Because, you know, if you can't get the dad, the daughters are the next best thing. But don't worry, Theseus isn't called a hero for nothing. He swoops in, rescues the girls, and restores order. Score 1 for the good guys. And then, guess who shows up? Polynices himself, trying to sweet-talk his dad into giving him the family blessing for his upcoming war against Eteocles. Antigone, being the peacemaker, convinces Oedipus to at least hear his son out. But Oedipus, still bitter about that whole exile thing, unleashes a fatherly curse instead of forgiveness.
You and your brother will kill each other.
That's some tough love, part 2. But then, cue the dramatic thunder, Oedipus gets a sign that his time has come. He calls for Theseus, saying, "It's time for me to go, but you're going to want to keep this spot a secret, my friend. Trust me, it's going to bring your city some serious divine street cred." With surprising strength, Oedipus leads Theseus and his daughters to the place where he'll meet his mysterious end. And just like that, poof, Oedipus is gone, taken by the earth itself. No body, no tomb, just a memory and a legacy that will protect Athens for generations. Not too shabby for a guy who started out with one of the worst prophecies ever. Back on stage, Antigone and Ismene are left heartbroken, unsure of what to do next. Theseus offers them safe passage back to Thebes to try and prevent their brothers from tearing each other apart. But we all know how well that's going to go. So what did we learn from this play? Sometimes, no matter how far you run or how blind you are, fate has a way of catching up with you. And when it does, it's always good to have a king like Theseus in your corner. Remember, even in the darkest of stories, there's always a light at the end. Sometimes it's just a little buried. Glad you are still here. Now, let's talk about Antigone, Oedipus's badass daughter. In the final play of the trilogy, aptly titled Antigone, picture this. Two sisters, Antigone and Ismene, sitting in the ruins of Thebes, fresh from the family's most recent fiasco. Their brothers, Polynices and Eteocles, couldn't decide who got to be king, so naturally they killed each other. Typical sibling rivalry, right? Now here's where things get spicy. Uncle Creon, because there's always that one power-hungry uncle, decides that Polynices doesn't deserve a proper burial because he had the audacity to bring a foreign army to Thebes. Small detail. Creon's solution? Let the birds and dogs handle it. Yeah, real nice, Creon. But Antigone, the true queen of I don't care about your rules, decides that Polynices deserves better. So she sneaks out in the middle of the night to give him a proper burial, despite Creon's no burial policy. No one tells Antigone what to do. The most unlucky sentry in Thebes, he's the guy who has to report to Creon that someone mysteriously buried Polynices. Sighs. You can practically see the sweat dripping off this poor guy as he stammers out the bad news to Creon. Creon, of course, goes full-on conspiracy mode. Who bribed you? Who's trying to overthrow me? But surprise, surprise, the sentry catches Antigone in the act the second time around. And what does she do? She's like, yeah, I did it. What are you gonna do about it? Creon's got a new problem now, his own son, Haemon, who happens to be Antigone's fiancé. At first, Haemon's like, yeah, Dad, you're totally right. But then he goes, actually, no, you're being a stubborn old goat. But Creon is committed to being the most unreasonable ruler ever. He decides to lock Antigone up in a tomb, alive. Great plan, right? Totally not going to backfire. Tiresias, the blind prophet. He rolls in like, "Creon, buddy, you've really messed up this time. The gods are not happy." Tiresias basically predicts doom and gloom for Thebes if Creon doesn't fix his mess. Creon, finally realizing he might have gone a little overboard, rushes to free Antigone. But guess what? It's too late. Antigone's already taken matters into her own hands, literally. She hangs herself. And just when you think it can't get any worse, Haman shows up, sees Antigone's body, and decides to join her in the afterlife. Not the romantic ending he was hoping for, I'm sure. Oh, but the tragedy doesn't end there, folks. Creon's wife, Eurydice, hears the news and is like, "Nope, can't deal with this," and stabs herself. Now Creon's lost his son, his wife, and any shred of happiness. And what's his big realization? Maybe I shouldn't have been such a tyrant. You think, Creon? Creon is left broken and alone, realizing that his stubbornness and pride have cost him everything. And there you have it, folks, the tragic tale of the House of Oedipus, a family cursed by fate, prophecy, and a whole lot of bad decisions. A family feud to end all feuds, brought to you by Sophocles, the original master of drama. Moral of the story? Maybe listen to the gods and your family before everyone ends up dead. So, what's the takeaway from this epic trilogy? Maybe it's that you can't outrun your fate, no matter how hard you try. Or maybe it's that family drama has been ruining lives since ancient times. Either way, these stories remind us that even in the darkest moments, there's always something to learn. About ourselves, about fate, and about what it means to be human. If you enjoyed this journey through the tragic lives of Oedipus and his children, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Join me next time as we explore more classic tales, with a twist, of course. Until then, remember, sometimes the best way to deal with tragedy is to laugh in the face of it. See you next time.